Hey everyone, welcome back to the spot. I'm Asa Rehman. Game week 26 isn't done yet, and I'm already thinking about my game week 27 lineup. I discovered some gems in the previous video that might have helped you with your fantasy team, and I'm hoping to do the same this week. I'll be going over the top fantasy players from each fixture and then reveal my waiver 11 for game week 27. And remember, for the best fantasy draft content, please subscribe to my channel, The Spot for Fantasy Footballers. All right, we have 11 matches in this game week, so we'll get to it quickly. And remember, the metric that I'll be using to analyze these players is their 4-game average, so the most recent 4 games for the players before the second matches in game week 26. We begin with Burnley and Arsenal. Matthew Lowton has helped Burnley earn 8 clean sheets this season, and Jay Rodriguez has become their best forward in recent weeks, averaging 5 points in his last 4. As for Arsenal's attack, it is led by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who is averaging 6 fantasy points in his last 4, but it's Nicolas Pape, who's coming off a 12-point outing with a goal and an assist against Leicester City. Sheffield and Southampton has little fantasy relevance. Aaron Ramsdale has just 1 clean sheet all season. Midfielder John Fleck has 3 assists so far this campaign. Southampton's Danny Ings, though, he will have a chance to score his 9th goal of the season, well off last year's pace of 22 goals, and he'd be a good shout for a brace in this match. And James Ward-Prowse has scored exactly 2 points in each of his last 4 matches. Makes it easy to figure out that average. All right, now on to Aston Villa and Wolves. Keeper Emiliano Martinez is having a really good fantasy year. He leads all keepers with 140 points and is averaging 8.25 in his last 4. Striker Ollie Watkins has 10 goals and 5 assists so far this campaign, and he's someone I'd back to get more than 4 fantasy points in this match. I expect him to get a goal or an assist, something positive in this game. As for Wolves, it's been Ruben Neves and Pedro Neto getting all the attention again. The two connected on the club's only goal last weekend against Newcastle. Meanwhile, Brighton have only conceded 4 goals in their last 8 matches. Lewis Dunk and Joel Veltman are a big reason why. The defenders are averaging 4.75 for my form rating, and Leicester is dealing with injuries to attacking players Harvey Barnes and James Maddison, so the pressure will be on Yuri Tielemans and Jamie Vardy to produce. Now for West Brom and Newcastle, an opportunity here for me to pump my tires a little bit, because I was touting defender Kyle Bartley in the previous preview video, and he went on to score 15 fantasy points in their 1-0 win. Striker Mbaye Diagne should have some chances as well to score against Newcastle, who are dealing with a number of injuries. Miguel Almiron and Alan Saint-Maximin are both out, so Joseph Willock will be called upon to carry the attack, and they might need Jamal Lascelles to score off another set piece to get a goal in this game. Liverpool hosting Fulham. Mohamed Salah has 17 goals this season. You wouldn't know it by the way people are talking about him, though, and his team this year. And Roberto Firmino got up to 100 fantasy points after an assist against Sheffield United. For Fulham, their defense has been strong. Joachim Anderson has earned 4 clean sheets in his last 4. Might be in the waiver 11. Make sure you tune in for that. And midfielder Ademola Lookman is averaging 4.75 in his last 4 outings. The Manchester Derby should give us an indication of how wide the gap is between City and the rest of the league. Riyad Mahrez is the latest player to perform for Pep's side. I expect Kevin De Bruyne to have a good fantasy performance in this match as well. As for Bruno Fernandes, I've heard talk about him not performing against big teams, but most players don't get good fantasy points against good teams. It's just how it goes. Marcus Rashford's goals against notable opponents this season would be a short list as well. Leicester City and West Ham. That's it. The rest of them come against lower sides. It's just how it goes. All right, the second chance for me to pat myself on the back in this video. I was praising Gareth Bale and pleading for Jose Mourinho to free Bale. And the manager must be a fan of this show, because he started Bale, and the Welshman had 2 goals and an assist in 69 minutes. Crystal Palace's Vicente Guaita earned his 5th clean sheet in a 0-0 draw with Fulham, and Eberechi Eze has 3 goals and 4 assists before the match with Man United. I think Tottenham will dominate this match. I'm hoping for more goals from Gareth Bale. Free Bale again. Chelsea and Everton, 2 teams looking to make a push for the top 4. Mason Mount is the most reliable attacking option for Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel, and Timo Werner is my favorite forward of the group, averaging 4.75 in his last 4. For Everton, Richarlison has found his finishing boots. That's a good thing. He's scored in 3 consecutive matches. Gilfie Sigurdsson providing the service in the 1-0 win over Southampton. Now to West Ham and Leeds. The Hammers have had a plethora of fantasy performers over the course of this season, and Jesse Lingard is the most recent to step up for the club with a 4-game, 6-point average, and Aaron Cresswell is leading the team in fantasy points this season with 121 so far. Leeds' best performer in recent weeks is Rafinha. He has 5 goals this season, but the team's best player is still Patrick Bamford, who has 13 goals total this year. And finally, Man City and Southampton get the bonus game. I'll focus on the City defensive options this time with John Stones and Ruben Diaz leading the way. As for Southampton, they can sometimes create opportunities off their press, and maybe Nathan Redmond can link up with Shea Adams for a goal. Okay, now that the fixture preview portion is done, let's get a look at the Waiver 11. And I know that fantasy draft viewers enjoy this part, whether you're playing fan tracks or FPL draft, whatever the game might be. This can help you make your decisions ahead of the game week deadline. And I'm curious to know who's available on waivers in your league. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about trades or waiver pickups. Fire them into the comments or hit me up on Twitter at @thespot4ff. All right, let's find out who made the Waiver 11 for Game Week 27. Okay, first of all, no need to review the Game Week 26 Waiver 11 because Game Week 26 is still in progress. So let's start with the keeper. Aaron Ramsdale is starting goal for me once again, as he usually does for this Waiver 11 side. And then let's get to the defenders. Joachim Andersen is the first one that I'm selecting. Again, one of the Fulham defenders. They've picked up quite a few clean sheets recently. So he's the latest one he's the one that's available, actually. That's what it comes down to. The other ones have been picked up, Ola Aina and Adebayo. So Joachim Andersen sitting there for me, and that's what I'm going with. Joel Veltman of Brighton, quietly having a decent season as well, picking up those clean sheets. I mentioned him earlier in the show. And then Kyle Bartley, also mentioned him earlier in this show and in the Game Week 26 preview show as well. So he's available and starting. Last week on the Waiver 11, I shamefully had him on my bench with those 15 points sitting there on the bench. Could have used those. James Tarkowski is the final defender that I'm picking for this Waiver 11 side in Game Week 27. Now to the midfielders. No-brainer to start. Nicolas Pape, available in this league because of inconsistent play. Inconsistent minutes, really. That's what it comes down to. Performs fairly well when he is on the pitch for Mikel Arteta, but just isn't always there. Gilfie Sigurdsson, another one that might be available in your draft league, and he's worth picking up right now, but also splitting time with James Rodriguez, and it's hard to know who's going to play for them. Bit of a rotation situation there, but Sigurdsson generally all right, and then he hits penalties as well. Thomas Souček is available in this league because I dropped him a few weeks back, and he wasn't picked up right away. I dropped him for Gareth Bale, and I'm not regretting that decision. So Souček available, and I'm going to pick him up here. And that's a good lesson, actually. Sometimes you're worried about dropping a player because they may not be available, or someone else is going to scoop them up. If you feel they're not going to produce for the next few weeks and there's someone better on waivers, do it. Grab them, and then you can always get them later if they're still there. Lucas Mora, the final midfielder I'm taking on this group, and picking him because Tottenham have been playing a little bit better offensively. Bale's a big reason why, but Lucas Mora benefiting as well. And then up top, Jay Rodriguez. Once again, this is the most difficult decision to make when it comes to my Waiver 11. It's the forward spots. Those two, there's never a whole lot there. Jay Rodriguez is usually sitting there if you're in a situation where you need to get one, to get a forward that plays and has a chance to score. I'd say Jay is the way to go. And then Neil Maupay, another player that I dropped a week or two ago for Maja, and Maupay hasn't done anything since. Maybe he does this week for my Waiver 11. All right, onto the bench we go. Jordan Pickford sitting there, so I'll pick him up and put him on the bench. Leandro Trossard taking the first spot. Joelinton, the second spot. Interesting situation with Joelinton at Newcastle because of the other injuries. He's going to have a chance to score potentially, but also may not be getting the service. That's why he's on the bench for this Waiver 11. And then Andreas Christensen is takes up the final spots on the bench. He's been picking up minutes in place of the injured Thiago Silva, but as Thiago Silva returns, or when he does return, I imagine Christensen will be dropped to the Chelsea bench as well. All right, that's it for the Game Week 27 preview. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a like if you did, and good luck with your waiver claims. Thanks so much for hanging out at the spot.